Alright, so I believe Quali has started. There's only 14 people, so someone's missing right now, but I'm not sure who. Um, are you here? Hello, dude?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I wasn't sure if you wanted
Alright.
me
Yeah, do you have
on
your
yet.
party audio on share?
Yeah, it should be on shareable here.
Alright, nice. I've got my party audio on, sharing a party as well. So we've got all 15 people in the lobby now. The teams who have qualified for the final are in first seed, we've got Italy, who performed best in the semi-final. They came sixth in the league stage, and they've got Viking Dog up here at front, Caplera as well, and Pasty 87 is another one of their drivers. But I'm pretty sure they've got someone replacing later on that will come in for the final round. Second team we've got is Austria, so that is Chrissy over here in P13. We've got Iggy up in P2 in the slipstream of Viking Dog, actually qualifying on the sports hard tyre. And then we've got Pyro in P8. Then the third seed is England. That is BX Royal over here with Sick Boy, and BO2603 is their third driver. Then the fourth team to qualify is Netherlands. They did a really good comeback in the semi-final. They were fourth in the lobby after the first race, and actually came second in the lobby in the end, as the drivers started to finish their first laps. That's DDK, Elite Spectre, and T-Plus Games. And a final team is Scandinavia, who were the best placed third team. That is Krill, Juho, and Trap 270 over here. So yeah, currently we've got Viking Dog and Caplero, two Italians in first and second, both on the sports soft tires. And then obviously we saw Iggy was on the hards, and I'm sure some other drivers will be on the harder compounds. Yeah, BX Royal is the lead car of the hard compound so far. And we've got Trap as well on the hards as Pyro, Elite, T-Plus. So yeah, pretty much what is that? Top six on softs, and the rest of the grid are on hards. Are you just watching from the stream, or
Yeah, right now I'm just checking it out from the stream. So
cool?
I don't know
Because
what the delay is. What's your lobby time say right now?
bottom left is 4:38, so it's just Viking Dog coming on to the start finish right here to finish his lap. It looks like it's a worse lap because he looked like he backed off a little bit there, and he has done. Trying to get a good
Looks like
exit for his next lap.
I'm about 5 second delay, so not too bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Take a look further back, see some other guys coming across the line. Doesn't look like either of them have beat their time. Actually, DDK has up to P3 there. Obviously, it does make it a bit more difficult, with like the dual commentary
With the lobby full.
with the lobby size that we
Yeah.
have on GT. Sick Boy with a massive mistake there, going wide at turn one. Looks like Iggy's overtaken BX Royal. And do you know what? Actually, it might be a good idea to go on board and see what's happening on POV with someone like BX Royal, who we know is really quick around his time. That 4 second gap will be basically all to do with the tires, because the hard tires are dreadful here.
And it's going to be great to see the kind of tire strategies we're going to see each nation use and see
Yep.
if we have, some different strategies between different drivers on each team here.
What is it? We've got six drivers on the soft tires. We should actually take a look. Do you have the rules up for this race? Because I haven't had a look at all. Because
Yeah, so
I
race
wasn't.
one looks like we're in the KTM Expo. Obviously, we're on Laguna Seca here. 5 minute qualifying, we're in it right now. Tire wear, we're at X50, times 50 tire wear. Fuel rate, we're rocking with times one. And looks like we have a mix of sports soft and sports hard with a minimum one stop. And included in that is a minimum of 3 lap hard stint these teams are going to have to do here. So
Okay,
a lot of different variable strategies here.
so we'll probably see, I guess, a one stop from hards to softs, as that's the tyres that we've seen the most. I think quali's pretty much finished now. We've got two Italians in P1 and 2. We've got a Dutch driver in P3, followed by Sitboy, the English driver, followed by past the 87. All the Italians going for the softs. None of them splitting their strategies. We've got BO on the softs in P6 with Iggy leading the hard runners, followed by BX Royal, Trap, Pyro, Chrissy, Juho, T-Pos, Elite, and P15 Killer Krill. So we'll go on board with, I think Cap is a good person to go on board with here instead of Viking Dog. So we've got a little bit further back, and yeah, it's full start, so drivers need to be careful that they don't jump the start, and we'll see what happens.
Going to be interesting to see what the Italians do here. 1-2 on the grid. Kep might have a chance to give Viking some space if he holds the pack up.
They've got Pasty in P5 as well, but these top six will just be trying to stay ahead of these hard runners because there was a massive gap even from P6 to P7. As it looks like Viking gets a mega star there, already half a second clear with Sick Boy looking down the inside of Kepler. Oh my god, okay, somebody has absolutely assassinated someone further back there. Um, I'm pretty sure I can see who that is. I'm pretty sure that was an Austrian livery, but it might have been a default livery, so I'm assuming it was Chrissy. But yeah, they just completely forgot to brake. Thankfully, it's only a Nations Cup event. We've got Sick Boy right on the back of Viking Dog here, going a little bit deep and probably won't get a chance to get that move done yet. It looks like Iggy has been shunted all the way down to P13 because of that incident there. I think I was right when it was Chrissy or T-Pos, someone around that kind of area, as there's some smoke being kept up further up on the grid. BX Royal looking for a move on past the 87.
And if there's one thing we know about Iggy, you can never count him out. He's going to be battling back to get those spots back here.
A bit of contact, BX Royal dropping down the positions, unfortunately. Pasty needs to use these soft tyres to his advantage and pull away because it's a huge advantage that he has from these cars as Viking Dog makes a mistake and drops down behind Sick Boy. Something to be wary of as well for this race is the next race will be a reverse grid based upon these positions here as Chrissy leaves the race, and that he hasn't completed enough time there to get 1 point for his team, so that will be 0 points for race one for the third Austrian driver, as it looks like the Italians are switching positions here with Kepler overtaking Viking Dog.
Yeah, and that's a big loss for Team Austria there because they're definitely contenders in up against Italy. So it'll be interesting to see how they adjust off that.
Yeah, Austria were first in the league stage and a second seed for the semi-finals. So they would be hoping for a lot more, but none of their drivers are even in the top 8 so far.
I'm looking forward to see how Pasty does here. P6 right now. He's got some quicker drivers behind him, but you can't sleep on him. He's done great this Nations.
Pulled out quite a big gap, as obviously we know that these soft tires are a lot quicker than the hard tires. I think from what I've seen from drivers discussing strategies, probably about a 2.5 to 3 second deficit between the two tire compounds. It's a very close battle here, though, between P2 and P4, that sort of area. We might go back a bit further back to see some of the battles on the hard compound tires. Iggy's made his way back up to P8 in the midst of that instance, and it looks like Elite and T-Pass have made a mistake or something because they have dropped right the way down, 4 seconds off the pack now.
Laguna Seca, definitely not a track benefiting off guys being able to really work with each other, unfortunately, for these teams. So not really a track where you can get a good bump draft or really push your teammate. So it'll be interesting to see how they fight their way back here.
Yeah, very contrasting from the next one that we have, but it is also a track where every little mistake can cost you a lot of time. With as we see a spinner there on the straight, let's go and have a look who that is. Getting some airtime. Elite Spectre doing donuts on the main straight. That's definitely not what you want to be doing. Maybe he's going for reverse grid pole, but it won't be very helpful for him here.
Yeah, it's so easy. You get two of those tires on the dirt sections, really trying to hit those curbs, utilize the curbs for your fast lap time, and you're just two tires away at any second from a spin. I know that all too well, and I'm sure you do as well.
Speaking of returning drivers, though, we have Sick Boy, who has had a season out of our main, or season, maybe 2 seasons out actually, of our main tiers. He was challenging Iggy back in season 5 kind of time, and he's showing that he's still got the pace and hasn't lost it in his time away, as he's built about a second and a half gap to the two Italians of Caplera and Viking Doug, putting in the fastest lap of the race so far as well. And you can see these lines that he's taking really sort of at one with the car. And what are his tyres saying compared to Caplera's? Slightly better wear, but that won't really make a difference, to be honest, on the rear right. As Viking Dog, probably not close enough here to cap. As Sit Boy makes a mistake, I've jinxed him. That
Oh no!
Kepero closed up just a little bit, not going to be enough to overtake him. And actually, the really wide line has meant that it's only like 3/10 loss in total because he went so deep into turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful driving, really utilizing the whole track there and making sure he can take as much speed as he can on those corner exits. That's going to be huge for him.
I'm pretty sure I just saw an arrow disappear from the track map there um, from sector 3 as we see someone in the pits now. They must have just been pitting, which seems like a very early pit stop. Let's have a look who that is. There's actually 4 drivers pitting. Maybe it's not a very early pit stop. Pyro, T-Pos, Elite, and Killer Krill all coming into the pits already.
Yeah, guys, maybe, a little better on the tire wear. They might be able to really push those softs. It'll be interesting to see how they hold up towards the end of the race.
You can see the gap in the field if you look at the track map between, I'm guessing it's between the soft runner and Iggy, or the soft runners and BX Royal, sorry, as you see these guys still line astern. The Italians do look like they've started to pull things back a little bit here. Viking Dog's fastest lap about 3/10 quicker than Sick Boys, as he missed a shift there a little bit, I think. Not going to be close enough this time round, though.
Yeah, and we're going to see if these Italians, maybe they're going to try and take a little bit off their lap times here and maybe start trying to save tires a little bit.
We see some more drivers coming into the pits now, trapping Iggy, getting rid of those hard tyres that don't seem to be very favoured by the grid. 1.2 seconds now separate these top 3 drivers, with DDK just 2 seconds further back.
It'll be interesting to see where Iggy comes out of the pits here.
There's pretty good battle
against these runners.
further back with Bio and Pasty for P5. Let's see, Iggy's still in this pit, so it just shows how long this pit lane is. Pyro's probably going to be behind him, though, it looks like. But we might see some battles on exit. That must take a lot of time out of your... must take a lot of time, this pit lane. Yeah, look at that. What, 2-minute lap time when Pyro pitted compared to 1 minute 36 is normally, so that's like 25 seconds it's cost him, as Iggy comes out in P9, Pyro P10, Trap P11, followed by Krill, T-Pos, and Elite right at the end of the field. And tell you what, they're not far from being lapped by Sick Boy.
The Italians just keeping themselves in range here, just making sure they don't let him get too far out of sight, keeping him striking distance.
It'll be interesting to see if Viking Dog and Capero try to switch positions, because they're looking increasingly... It's looking like Viking's getting increasingly closer to Kep as we take a look back to see if Pasty is close enough on Bio. It doesn't look like he's going to be, but a really solid performance from the Italian team so far, with BX coming into the pits now after... What is this, end of lap 5 it would have been. I'll take a look to see where he comes out in comparison to Iggy soon, when we see him appear out of the pits.
And it looks like Kep's doing a great job keeping his tires alive there in comparison to Sick Boy. So we might see those Italians start to really push Sick Boy here.
Yeah, looking at Viking Dog's tyres, they are absolutely shredded. Kepler are definitely looking the best out of the three of them, and it looks like Iggy is gonna undercut BX Royal. It's gonna be very tight. Actually, it's gonna be a lot. Yeah, he is gonna undercut him just about. What, pulling out 1.3,
Wow, look at
1.4
that.
seconds. But I have heard
Yeah.
that the strategy here is very touch and go between one and two stops. So I think BX is definitely going for a one stop if he's gone an extra lap compared to Iggy. It would be interesting to see what Iggy and Co do in comparison. It looks like Viking Dog's made a mistake here though. Maybe his tires are going off quite a bit. 6 laps on these soft
Yeah, it looks
tires
like
and they're dead.
that right rear on Viking's really just taking a hit there. It's gonna
Completely
really
red. There's
struggle on those left-hand exits.
no life left in it whatsoever, and there's a lot of those left-hand exits around here, unfortunately for him. DDK with a penalty further up there, but it looks like these two, Bio and Pasti, are just sort of chilling, about a second apart, just happy with their pace, happy with the way they're progressing. Actually, I think DDK's been catching to those front three if we look at the map. Yeah, well, he's within 5 seconds of the leader, but he is going to drop down a bit closer to the rest of them once he serves his penalty. Looks like
Well,
Bio might
pace
have been a little
just
bit wide there. Bio might have been a little bit wide there. Pacey within half a second, but still can't quite get alongside these Expos. Probably not going to have the benefit of slipstream that we saw in certain other cars. But obviously, Laguna Seca is a very difficult track to overtake as well, as we see the top three all coming into the pits, ditching their soft tyres at the end of lap 7. And actually, all the top 6 will be as well, so we can potentially take a look where these guys come out. I think Sick Boy was the first into the pits. Juho is on the softs as well, but this guy's a tyre master. It looks like Iggy's built up like a 4 second gap to BX Royal. I'd assume
wow.
I'd assume the soft runners come out the pits maybe 10 to 15 seconds ahead of Iggy. But I wouldn't be surprised if the softs can make that time up when we think about the 2.5 to 3 second difference between the two tires.
Yeah, and they're gonna be coming out on those cold hards with some fast, pressure coming on behind them there.
Oh my god, Sick Boy and Cap are inside each other as they come out the pits. And it looks like Cap has managed to get the move done. Sick Boy into the dirt. Maybe had to refuel a little bit more. They've both refueled quite a lot here if you look at the fuel gauges. Sick Boy going for the switchback. Cap's going to probably try and hold him up here as much as he can to bring Viking into this party and make it a three-way fight. Iggy has actually split Bo and Pasti as well, which is crazy considering how tight they were, but we've got to stay on board with this battle for the lead. Sick Boy pushing Cap through that corner there. Let's go on board in the bumper cam as he looks towards the outside. He's gonna lift off. Cap definitely slowed him down here. Sick Boy going for the switch back down the freaking...
Oh.
What's the corner called? I can't even remember. What corkscrew, that's the one. And Viking is right in this battle now.
Oh my goodness, what a crazy, crazy sequence of events there down the corkscrew.
These are 3 guys that are right at the top of Tier 1 pace. Viking and Cap, I think, are actually teammates in Tier 1. And then Sick Boy is a seeded driver in Tier 1. So none of these guys are going to be outclassed here. It's all who can do it on pace. And obviously the Italians will be able to work together to try and keep the Englishmen behind.
Oh, and you see that Kep's trying to pull over to the left to get Viking the slipstream, and he manages to give him just enough to get by Sick Boy there on the home straight.
Sick Boy going for the really deep line to try and get a switch back, but it's not going to happen. And let's see, Iggy just 9 seconds back now. So how many laps was it? 12?
Yeah, I believe we're looking at 12 laps here.
Also, BX has caught around 2.5 seconds to Iggy since he's come out the pit stop. Yeah, about 2 seconds quicker on the last lap, and he goes purple again, BX Royal here. So it looks like this could be a five-way battle for the lead if they get past DDK quickly.
20-minute timed race here, so
Oh, is that what it is?
yeah, misread the rules earlier, but
Okay.
so yeah, we got about 6 minutes remaining here. It'll be interesting to see how many laps that works out to. Some of these guys who did the second half stint on the softs, they may have to really push those softs past their life here.
It should be around 14 laps if my maths are correct, just by quickly doing 90 seconds divided by 20 minutes, or the other way around. With 13 or 14 laps, which, when did Iggy come into bits? He's got past DDK, actually. We've missed that, unfortunately. DDK now defending from BX Royal, who should easily be past there. Got that move done really quickly and really cleanly as well. BO and Pasty are still battling like crazy. BX within 2 seconds of Iggy now, within 7 seconds of the lead. These guys' soft tyres are about half worn. I think they should probably make it to the end, but it seems like they've made their tyres last a lot more. As you can see, the top six now covered by the straight between turn what was that, turn 3 and turn 4, I guess.
These guys are just absolutely unleashed on these soft tires.
Less than
They
2 second
flying.
gap between Sick Boy and Iggy. You'd assume Sick Boy will try and make it a little bit difficult for Iggy to get past, and then nice and easy for his teammate BX Royal to get through. But I'm thinking the favourite here is going to be, like we saw for much of Tier 1 last season, it's going to be Iggy versus BX Royal in this race here, I think. Just 2.5 seconds
Yeah,
off the lead with, 3 laps to go. I think they've got the pace to get past both Italians.
it's going to be interesting to see how Viking plays Iggy coming up on him here soon enough on the softer tire compound on a track that's hard to overtake. But we've
Iggy
seen
just
contact between these two before.
Yeah, Iggy just a little bit of contact in the rear of Sick Boy. Sick Boy with some really good defense there to somehow defend from Iggy on the worst tires. He's now holding up his teammate though, so you might want to let these guys go soon. As Iggy looks at the inside, I tell you what, this is so close here between all these five guys. 2 seconds separates the top five guys now, as they're all, look at that, they're all in the slipstream train.
This is incredible driving, and this is really one of the benefits of this Nations Cup is you get to see how these guys, really battle against one another while also working with teammates they normally wouldn't work with.
We've got Viking who's gone up past BX Royal. Iggy getting a bit of oversteer there on the exit. Viking past Caplera, sorry. BX Royal past Iggy. And BX goes wide, touches the gravel, the sand even. Iggy is now back up to P3. 1 second off the lead on the better tyres. BX has been shunted out into the gravel, and he's going to be right down with DDK now.
Oh, that's tough. Couldn't really
Look,
see what happened there, but it's so tight through that section.
yeah, it's hard to see because you can't turn the replay on. And obviously, we were on board at the time, but it looked like there was just no room left for him on the outside, which is a bit unfortunate. So, if there were stewards, that would have probably been reported, but obviously there isn't for this event. As Iggy's up to P2 now.
Oh, Iggy just moving through like butter there. Just no problem on that pass.
And yeah, just a second behind Viking now as well, who is on the hard compounds, but they've got 2 more laps to do. And Iggy's rear right is looking a little bit treacherous. I'm not sure what BX Royals are looking like. Let's go back to him quickly, just take a bit. BX's tyres are definitely in a lot better shape than Iggy's.
Yeah, no doubt Iggy's gonna have to push 1 lap, maybe 2, on a fully depleted right rear.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 more laps from here as we've got just over 2 minutes left. Looks like BX is going to get the move past Sick Boy now with his teammate just... Kepler gets some oversteer, which is actually holding up BX Royal. Was that tactical to almost lose the rear there on the double Apex turn 2 as he holds up both English drivers and still keeps position 3 as well after his little mistake. Viking does a similar thing to Iggy. I think he's round in the wall.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
That looked like it was exactly the same as the incident we saw between BX and Iggy earlier, but this time it's Iggy coming off. on the bad side of things, dropping all the way down to P2. Caplero dropping down to P4 as Sick Boy makes a move on him on his fresh hard tyres.
And
BX
that's
is
got to
now
be
2.1.
frustrating.
Kep is back past Sick Boy potentially here. Very. Oh my god, there's a lot of contact here. This is not what we like to see, but yeah. Kep
And
now
that's
just
got to be
outbreaks
frustrating.
himself
Oh my,
completely.
oh my,
Kef has
holy
just
smokes.
beached it in the gravel, and now Iggy's going to be right on his back yet again. There was a lot of contact all the way down that straight. I'm not really sure what it was about, but yeah. Let's take a look at Trap quickly, who is side by side with DDK. Started further back, and he's done a really good performance here to get past DDK. But now let's look at Sick Boy. No, let's look at Sick Boy. Iggy, even. That's who I meant to say. Iggy getting past Kiplera. Kiplera in the sand yet again. And we've got
And I
one
think that
more
might just
lap.
be to those tires. You know, those tires still might be dirty, a little cooled off from that corkscrew issue there.
Yeah, we've got one more lap now for BX to try and get past Viking Dog. These two nations were in the same lobby yesterday in the semi-final, so they've got a lot of experience for racing with each other. BX mistakes like that aren't going to get you past Viking Dog, but let's see if he's going to be able to. Obviously, we want to see if Sick Boy can hold on to P3 as well.
Oh, and it looks like this is going to be our final lap as well here. Room timer coming up to 1950. So I don't think they're going to get past the start finish.
No, they definitely won't. It looks like the final few guys are actually going to have their positions confirmed now. Just a few more corners, what, 1.5 more sectors for BX to get this move done on Viking Dog, who's defended really well. Very on the edge as well, we do need to add, but let's see if BX can pull off something magical here. And I tell you what,
Will he
he might have
shoot it
done
down
it.
the inside?
He's pulled off an outstanding overtake there. Beautiful exit
Oh my.
from the corkscrew, and he gets down inside into the third to last corner. And all he's got to do now is hit his braking point into the final corner, and he should be able to beat Viking down in the run to. Oh my god, no! Oh my god. They'll be separated by less than 0.2 of a second here across the line. BX Royal taking the win for England ahead of Italy in P2. Sick Boy beating Iggy by 0.3 of a second for P3. Caplero coming home in P5. DDK will be in P6. What's happened to Trap? Oh my god, this is chaos. Gee, okay, yeah, there's been about 5 crashes there in that final corner.
Oh my
Um,
goodness gracious.
there's 5 more cars coming across the line. Yeah, Pyro P11, Elite in P12, on the soft compound, depending from Krill here. Scandinavia will not be very happy with their result there. Coming home in P13 and 14. That was interesting.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Definitely interesting. It's going to be great to see the Discord after this one here.
Yeah, I just need to quickly fill in the points um, based
Looks
on the result
we might.
here.
Some of the drivers are saying there's a little bit of lag going on in the room, so that could explain some of the issues we were seeing there.
Yeah, it seems like this latest update has brought some lag sometimes with certain hosts. Netherlands in P. Wait, who was P5? P5 was Kep. So that's 16 points for Italy, 14 points for Netherlands, 12 points for Scandinavia. And if we go on to the next page, it would be 10 for Italy, 8 more for Netherlands, and 6 more for.
And I will say these are some of the cleanest
No,
drivers
6 more for Netherlands, 8
if
more
you're
for
sharing the
Italy.
track with them. And they are just incredible drivers. So they're not one to make any sort of contact. And so I think this could definitely be a server side issue from Gran Turismo, whether it be netcode or even just a little lag spikes, because there's no doubt that these guys are all incredible racers.
It looks like England have taken the early lead with 57 points. Um, Yeah, 57 points. Italy are in second on 46 points. Netherlands and Austria very close together on 24 and 23 points respectively, and then Scandinavia rounding off the grid on 15 points.
What a drive for England. Incredible, incredible turnout for them with 57 points there.
Yeah, double podium, despite not really having the best lap there from Sick Boy, especially when you compare it to Viking and BX Roll, who are both in the 30s. Did really well to bring that home in P2. Anyway, the next race, what will the next race be?
All right.
Next
So
race is the oval race, isn't it?
yeah, we got the Amuse F2000 GT1 Turbo, and we're going overseas. We're heading to oh no, we're going over to Daytona. So oval racing, everyone's favorite. We're gonna be doing 24 laps on this one, not a timed event. And this one, it looks like we're doing just normal ALR rules. So we got 4 times tire wear, 3 times fuel rate. You're able to use any tires that you want. So racing soft, racing medium, racing hard. And this one's saying no mandatory pit stops on there.
Yeah, based on what I've been hearing from everyone, it sounds like it's going to be you're going to need to refuel. Um, you're not going to be able to make the whole race without refueling, but it'll be interesting to see how. Um, who can obviously save a little bit of fuel so they have to refuel the least amount and maybe get a little bit of a jump in the pit stop. I know there is one team that are planning a slightly different strategy from quickly looking at the team's chats. So it'll be interesting to see if that pays for them or goes sort of like exploding in flames. And I think everyone else is going for quite a simple sort of drive, refuel, drive again kind of strategy.
And, and no doubt, I'm not the biggest for racing, but I think definitely we have a great opportunity here to show off a side of these drivers and teams that we don't get to see in our normal league racing, because teamwork is going to win this event, no doubt.
Especially for over racing, where giving someone the slipstream or working together is going to be vital. And if you do lose the slipstream, you're going to be struggling to keep up with other drivers. But another good thing about the oval racing is that it sort of levels the playing field a little bit. There's no certain advantage for certain drivers. Um, there's no braking really going on. It's just who can stay in the slipstream and who can use like tactics to win.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, it really evens the playing field. And if you fall out of that slipstream for even half a second, you can lose 3, 4, 5 spots depending on what that train is. Because it's hard once you get out of that stream. If you go for an overtake, I mean, we've seen it on Le Mans on the big straight, but basically amplify that by 10 times. So it'll be really interesting to see how teams go for overtakes here, and I'm just excited to see some of the best drivers in this league here really push these cars.
And this is the car that everyone will be driving. It's the Amuse S2000. So it's a car that has very good straight line speed, not the best turning. So it should be a really good combination for this circuit. We might have a little bit of a break, to be honest, between these two races because it's going to take a while for the host to set things up, I'd assume, especially with the reverse grid that we have. In terms of the reverse grid order, I think it should be Juho starting out on pole because he came last out of the people who actually finished. Chrissy left early on, which unfortunately resets him back to the end of the grid. Then we've got Krill will be second, Elite in third, Pyro will be starting fourth, with T-Pass in P5. Pasty 87 will be starting in sixth, with Trap, the Scandinavian driver, in seventh. So this is a chance for Scandinavia and Austria and Netherlands teams that are a little bit behind the English and Italian teams to really sort of claw some points back. Then we've got BO in eighth, DDK will be in ninth, with Caplero in 10th. No, Caplero's in ninth. I've missed a number somewhere. Iggy will be 10th, Sick Boy in 11th. No, I was right before actually. Never mind, ignore me. Wait. Iggy 11th, Sick Boy 12th, Viking 13th, BX Royal in 14th, and Chrissy will be at the back due to him lagging out or rage quitting or whatever.
Yeah, no doubt here. Big challenge for England. Starting from the back of the pack, over racing. It's not easy to get these overtakes done. So they're really going to have to hope maybe for some mistakes here, or maybe they got a trick up their sleeve with the pit strategy. But I'm excited to see here.
You can see we've got some drivers practicing. We can take a look at the liveries. You can see the Scandinavian livery here with a blue back to the livery and a silver front. We've got the Dutch livery, which is very orange. I don't think you need me to tell you that's Dutch. Chrissy showing the Austrian livery, which is white in the middle with a Red Bull logo and then red on the front and rear of the car. Then we've got the Italian livery, which is like an Italian chessboard. Then we've got, what else is there left? England is the last livery we haven't looked at, which is like a classic, well not classic, like sort of 2008 McLaren Vodafone livery.
Yeah, and big shout out here to our designers and guys who take the time out of their day to, create these liveries. Event. So that's a good shout to them. It really helps these cars look great, and it lets the drivers, focus on the driving, or some guys are just better at making liveries. They look great this Nations Cup, and it was really awesome to see that.
Yeah, as we mentioned before, there are some teams who are potentially planning on doing some different strategies. And just as we were saying about how this really evens the playing field, we've got Killer Krill, a tier 6 or 7 driver potentially. Okay, that's not right. I got very worried then about the order that was showing up. We've got Killer Krill, who is a really lower tier driver, and he just set the fastest time there in the practice session as we come for the 5 red lights now to start the second race of this final 24 laps at Daytona.
Well, and shout out to Killer Krill as well. I know he drives in VR. My old teammate. So shout out to Krill. Constructors Chat last year.
Alright, I think we have a little glitch here. It's showing Pasty to be in first on the second lap, even though he is very definitely, as it resets now, that's good to see. And oh my god. This is chaos. There is no room for anyone over here on the bank turns of Daytona. I actually thought we were starting with a rolling start, which I think would have made
what I was worried about here.
a bit more sense.
Trying to go 3 wide, 4 wide, corners. Oh goodness! Someone's down on the apron, comes back up and just smokes a Netherlands driver. Oh my goodness! What am I watching? And Typos goes round. My goodness.
Alright, back to the front. We've got Killer Crow, who has made like a 2-second gap. Like, is this going?
You know what? I think there with Krill, he just managed to stay in front of the mess.
And now we are going into the headwind, which is where the slipstream will have even more effect. So these guys are going to get some crazy slipstream down this corner. We need to go on board with one of these cars and have a look what this looks like on board. Let's go on board with Viking. as it looks like things have calmed down a little bit here. Let's go on board with Iggy instead. Oh my god, this is more like it. It looks like there's some contact there. Trap sort of seems to lose all of his slipstream. It'll be interesting to see who's saving fuel here and who's going flat out. It looks like some cars have already lost the slipstream. Sick Boy way down in P10. England both in P10 and P11 here. With Bo down in P12. I'd be assuming that those guys are trying to save fuel because there's no other reason why they would have lost so much time, I don't think. And Killer Krill has been caught by the pack with a top 8 here, split by 1 second, apparently.
Well, and like you said, 2 seconds is gone in less than half a lap just by the power of the slipstream. So, while England may look out of it right now, if they can catch back up even a stray in this pack, you can't really count them out of it. It's going to be exciting.
As Pyro is wall riding, which isn't the fastest way around an oval, despite what some clips that you saw on Twitter a few months ago might tell you.
No, that's tough. That's a lot of paint work off that car gone. I don't know if he's going to make it later, but that's not going to help.
Yeah, there's a lot of contact here. I think the sensible thing to do is kind of what Kep's doing, just sort of sitting at the back of this pack and saving fuel. And just watching the chaos ahead, because it is chaos and it is also entertainment.
Yeah, Kep's got a brilliant strategy here. You know what? Let those guys up there fuel map and go for overtakes. You can sit on fuel map 6 and just stay close. Just keep your nose in there.
Yeah, I think
let the slipstream do the work.
I think it's actually late enough to say one of the teams actually had the strategy of staying in fuel mix 6 all race, and they thought that would get them the fuel all the way to the end of the race, and they could go on the harder compound tires and they would be able to no stop this race, whereas every other team sort of seemed to think that the best strategy was to go flat on the softs and then change tires. Kep's done really well to recover that there. He gives Pyro a little bump draft. Obviously, you want to be driving well because you can see the gap of the slipstream. Viking Dog was right behind these guys, and now he's 6.8 seconds off the lead 1 lap later, just because he doesn't have the slipstream.
Yeah, once you fall out of that slipstream, the time just melts away, and they turn into a grain of sand on your dash. You can't see it.
These guys here at the back of the slipstream could be sitting here in like fuel mix 3 or 4 and probably still hanging on to this slipstream because that's all you've got to do. You wanna hang on to it, but you don't need to be sort of in fuel mix 1 out the front setting the pace.
Yeah, for Spectre right now, I think you just got to be relying on the push draft from your partner there, and because you are going to break away from this pack. So.
It's probably time that we actually have a think about what drivers we have in this pack. We've got 3 Austrians, 2 Dutch drivers, 2 Scandinavians, and 1 Italian. Viking Dog losing another 3 seconds. You can see 45 second laps to this lead pack, and 48 second laps further back. 52 second laps for the English drivers as T-Boss flies past them. I don't think they've thought this strategy through. Oh, I heard someone hit the wall then. It doesn't look like anyone's died. Actually, I've spoiled it. Pyro has spun his teammate.
Oh no. What a terrible incident for the Austrians.
And Chrissy's gone into the pits. I think that's completely by mistake. He's going to get a 3-second penalty when he comes out of the pits as well. And Pyro might be losing the slipstream here. He's right on the border. Oh my god. That's another crash.
And what I wouldn't pay right now to hear that Austrian group chat, let me tell you.
Let's just say there might be some arguments in there. We've got Clara up to P3, Iggy down in P5, and now we've just got 5 in this lead pack here.
And this is going to be tough for Iggy because now he's riding solo up there.
Well, all the teams are riding solo, apart from Scandinavian team, who are well out of it right now in terms of the Constructors' battle. Obviously, the final race is double points, so that is worth a lot more than these first 2 races. But they could really claw back some points here, Team Scandinavia. England are having a shocker, let's just say that.
And I'm just surprised to see the amount of overtakes we're seeing here from these guys. Not as much bump drafting as I really thought. A lot of 2 wide, 3 wide going through the slants, and that's tough.
It's
And you
just
can see some of
inefficient.
these tires. Yeah, these tires are already getting smoked. Some of these guys on the soft. It
Yeah,
kept going down the inside. His tires are toast. He's gonna be able to keep it. Oh, he backs out. We're good.
Kep and Elite both have got toast rear right tires. Iggy and Trap and Krill are all on mediums, so these guys will be having a bit easier job now. And if they do work together, like it looks like they're trying to do now, saving fuel and just bump drafting, like let one of these guys kill their fuel. And there's a massive bump draft from Iggy there, as it looks like Kep might be losing a little bit here as he's struggling um, to keep the pace. Pyro lost the slipstream just 1 lap ago, 2 laps ago, sorry, and he's already 5 seconds behind.
Well, and this is the danger of the softer compounds, right? He's gonna fall out of that slipstream just because he's struggling through that corner, staying on the accelerator. And
Something
we might see these top teams pull away here.
something smart that it looks like Viking Dog's done here is lifted off a little to get himself a partner to work with, and that will mean they won't lose quite as much time from the guys ahead. If you're working together, just two of you, you can probably set 46s. Obviously, the top guys in this pack of 4 or 5. Is it pack of 5 still, or has Kep lost the slipstream? It looks
I
like
think Kep's
Kep's.
falling out here.
Yes, he's lost the slipstream trying to overtake Chrissy, but obviously Chrissy, it's obviously easy to do with the pure red tire, isn't it? Make a little mistake, but he's got someone to work with at least, so he might be able to get himself back into that battle. But if I was Chrissy, to be honest, I wouldn't be bump drafting him. Like I would resign myself to P15 here, and I would try and hold up Kep. Not give him the slipstream, to let him get back into this battle and potentially take points off your teammate.
Well, and I'm not really sure what Chrissy's doing here. He's really pushing to get by him, but like, for what
And
reason?
look at this, they're already lapping the England team, who are
Oh my
all
goodness.
running mix six, trying to make this work for them as Trap comes into the pits. And if they can get some slipstream off here, that might be really helpful. Obviously, these guys all have to pit these top three, whereas the England guys won't have to pit at all. But I think it's going to be too much because if they're getting lapped, they're 46 seconds behind.
Yeah, no doubt here. If they're getting just straight up lapped, even while they're pushing each other, they might need to call something on the fly here because that's tough.
It looks like
I don't
these
think the pit
guys.
lane is 40 seconds.
It looks like these guys are very close to being completely out of fuel. So it'll be interesting to see. Kep fills up to 100% fuel, so he'll be trying to go to the end from here. Let's have a look at the English team actually quickly. Yeah, they do have more than half fuel, so the strategy is working for them. Um, but I don't think they'll be leading now, let alone when everyone else comes in. So I don't really think the strategy's worked for them. Viking Dog has saved a bit more fuel, so he'll catch up a little bit, but he's going to be too far back. I think it is going to be these guys that come out at the front again.
Yeah, it's really so tough to say. I mean, there's only 11 laps remaining here, and they're 40, 50 seconds behind. Yeah, they won't have to pop in the pits, but you're gonna have to turn it on at some point.
Viking's actually staying out here. He's managed to save enough fuel. Pasty moves to the outside to let Iggy onto the track, which is really nice and sportsmanlike to see, because there is an issue where you really do have to just bolt out the pits onto the racing line on this track, otherwise you will get a penalty. And Iggy's getting a lot of time here. He hasn't changed his tyres. That's why.
Oh, look at that.
He stays on his mediums, which are absolutely dead on that rear right. Juho is also staying on his softs, which are also dead on that rear right. And he needs to come on the pits, actually. He hasn't pitted yet. Where else are we looking? Trap. Trap and Killer have both switched tyres, so they'll be able to work together and probably catch up to Iggy, which will be vital for their performance.
Yeah, we've seen some great work here from Quill and Trap staying together and just staying out of the contact mess that was happening behind them.
Yeah, they were just being smart and not getting involved in any of the bumping that we saw. It looks like Iggy has found a partner to work with now, so he might be able to stay ahead of these guys. But a P3 and P3 and P4 finish would be absolutely fantastic for those two. But yeah, it looks like Iggy and Kep will stay ahead. Both of them choosing to stick on tyres, and that's obviously how they've gained their 5 seconds to the Scandinavians behind.
Yeah, I think Scandinavia is going to close this gap here.
I mean, what is it? What did we say it was before? It's sort of sticking at that 4.7 gap. It just depends
Yeah.
who can work together best, and who can save fuel and sort of bump draft best. You'd hope that Krill and Trap are in a party together and are able to bump draft perfectly, as we see the plane taking off there in the background.
Well, if you're Iggy right now, you're loving this because guess what? You can let Kep push through that wind and you can just stay behind the Italian driver and just chill. Save that fuel.
Yeah, they
It's going
are
to be
actually.
interesting to see if Kep tries to let him by at some point. Trade off, go, all right, you take some of this now.
He might need to because his fuel is getting depleted really quickly in comparison to Iggy. If we look at that fuel gauge, you can see Iggy's got about 5% more fuel, I'd say, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when a full tank only lasts 12 laps, that's like pretty much a lap of fuel extra that Iggy's got.
Yeah, we see they're actually increasing the distance to the Scandinavians here a little bit. It looks like 2/10 over that last lap. Maybe 3/10 now.
Look further back though, take a little run down the grid. We've got Pyro in P5 on his own, followed by Viking Dog and Elite Spectra, who are both working together. They'll probably close the gap on Pyro in no time. Chrissy is 5 seconds further back after his incident with his teammate earlier on. I'm not sure if his fuel will make it to the end. DDK in P9, followed by the English trio, who are still at it. They're still trying their strategy, which they were very confident about. Let me just tell you that. And it's not coming home this race anyway. Speaking of if it's coming
Yeah.
home or not, we actually have one prediction which is still alive from the Predictor Challenge with a potential chance of winning 20 quid. That prediction is on England to win the race as they lose another position with Pasty going past them.
And he's not even in the draft, and he's just absolutely gone. Just smell you later. Enjoy your tea and crumpets. I'm gonna go eat my spaghetti.
Yeah, England showed in the last race when it comes to outright pace, they have the ability to beat anyone, but when it comes to strategy, it seems they might falter slightly.
Yeah, it looks like they may have hired one of the Ferrari strategists from last season. That's a tough go for them.
I mean, you can see by the miles per hour, BO doing 177 miles an hour at his peak there, 172 for Sick Boy leading the train. Pasty isn't even in the slipstream and he's doing 180.
That's just maybe a little bit of oversight there from the English.
Yeah, their idea was that they were going to stay in the slipstream the whole race and just follow everyone in Fuel Mix 6, but unfortunately they didn't think of the fact that what if we lose slipstream and finish 2 laps down on everyone?
Well, and we're seeing now an impressive drive from Iggy and Kep as they increase that gap to 6.1.
I really like watching these Scandinavians actually. I love their livery and I love the way that on their sort of banner across their windscreen they have their own flags representing Iceland and Sweden.
You know what? That liver reminds me a little bit of Too Fast and Too Furious, Roman Pierce's little Mitsubishi uh, convertible.
Yeah. Looking at the fuel, Kep has really saved a lot of fuel recently. And you can see he's caught back up to Iggy in terms of the fuel usage, which is probably why Iggy's gone out ahead because he can see that he's bump drafted him a little more than he'd be hoping to. You can see the difference in pace though now that there's just two of these guys working together. They're doing 47s whereas it was 45s earlier.
Yeah, well, and it looks like we're seeing a little bit of an oversight from Krill and Trap here. Through the corners, they seem to be going side by side on a couple of the laps, rather than just stand tight to one another and keep pushing. Because they keep trading positions back and forth. I don't know if they maybe are having some fuel issues or what.
A big bump draft there from Trap as we go on board with these two. Let's see the same thing happening. That lag is a bit off-putting as he looks to potentially go for another move yet again. Oh, this is a bit close for comfort, isn't it? Little bump draft there.
Yeah, we can see they're only sitting around the 47s through their lap times, so they're definitely not getting as much out of the car as Kepanigi up there.
These guys have caught a lot on Kapanigi recently. This gap was up to 5.7. It's down to 4 seconds to the lead now.
I'm
48's the
wondering if,
past 2 laps.
you know what, I'm wondering if Kep was rocking a fuel map 1, and as soon as Iggy went, P1, he dropped it down the fuel map 6 and said, all right, Kep, you push me.
Hmm.
Because Kep's just flown by him there.
Yeah, and Cap has used a lot more fuel again after he had caught right up to Iggy in terms of the fuel usage. And Kep's back in front, and once again they start pulling away from the Scandinavians.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. Scandinavians might be sitting, midway on their fuel map, and Iggy said no need for me to change off of my strategy here. And England gets just flown by again. Oh boy.
It's quite funny really to see how much of a sitting duck they are. And yeah, it is definitely kept running a higher fuel mix. I'd be surprised. I'd quite like to see Iggy move back in front again so we can see the Scandinavians catch up.
Yeah, I agree. I think they made him recognize that the Scandinavians were getting too close, and kept just went, okay, no, let's keep these guys at bay here.
As we
But
pass two
I do
more.
got to give the English credit here. Their dedication to the strategy is
I
bar
mean,
none, bar
you could
none.
just hear from the engine revs how much the difference is as the Scandinavians fly fast. And actually, Sick Boy's pulled away from his teammates a little bit here. He must have done something special there, but I'm sure they'll catch him back up now. He's lost the slipstream. With T-Post moving back up on the fuel mixes to try and stick to Iggy and Cap, which will help them even more, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm sure they'll start to pull away even further from the Scandinavians behind. As you can see, yeah,
Yeah,
the
it's just
gap is up
bad
to
luck there for the
5.2.
Scandinavians. Yeah.
And Elite's, oh my, they've made some friends, the Scandinavians. We've got 3 more drivers on the back of them with Elite Spectre, HTTP Pyro, and DDK. As we move on to the final lap, there's contact between the Scandinavians and lap traffic, actually. And more contact between Pyro and Team Elite. Oh my god, Elite's in the wall a little bit there. Pyro going around the outside, not letting off the
Oh.
throttle at all there. Let's go back into this third person's perspective. We need to see what's going on here a little bit better. Elite just turning into the Scandinavian drivers. But he's got 2 drivers on your inside, mate. What are you doing?
Oh, where are you going? Oh my
And
God. Oh, he's just pushing them on the apron. What are you doing?
he kind of deserves that, to be honest, a little bit. The Dutch driver, as Viking Dog makes it past. Let's look at this. Oh, we've just missed the
Oh,
finish,
there's an
unfortunately.
illegal overtake there from Viking on the Scandinavian. You can't drop down on the apron like that and over racing to make a pass. That's
He did
dangerous.
let him past, fortunately. We did miss the finish there with that craziness happening further back, but I'm sure you guys will be okay with that, hopefully, as it looks like Elite Spectre might have run out of petrol a little bit.
Oh, what a slap in the face there! Not only does he not have enough fuel to make the finish there, but he almost took someone with him.
Elite and P7, DDK will be P8, Juho and T-Pass will be the last one, and that is a dreadful performance from the English team.
Let me tell you, that could really haunt them coming into
Hmm.
this last race here.
That probably will cost them some big points. As I've
That's
literally
a
just filled in
that's a
one
great
result.
finish for
I've filled
Iggy
in one
and Pyro
result
there.
for the Italians, and they're already well clear.
Yeah, what a drive from what a recovery drive from Team Austria there. They had a little mistake there early, but they put their head down, and I think they put themselves in a pretty competitive position here to have a chance in the third race.
England have dropped back to third. I tell you what, this is anyone's game.
Oh, double points, you're right. Anything can happen here. You just need one good drive here. And
Hmm.
if I had to guess, this is probably the race the teams practice the most, if I had to put my money down. Because this is for all the marbles.
So, the standings up until, well, with just the third round to go, we've got Italy with a 20-point lead so far, which means they've outscored Austria by 10 points in each race. If they were to be outscored by Austria by 10 points in the next race, they would be level on points. Just to put into perspective with what this double points sort of shows, England, after scoring just 9 points that race, dropped down to third on 66, 1 point behind Austria. Scandinavia are 7 points behind the English team, and Netherlands are seven further back from Scandinavia.
Let's take a look here in the event chat. See what the drivers are saying after that one. Viking Dog, not a big fan of the oval racing. I think one of my favorite things is just watching the drivers after the after the race here. Wow, Austria, 67 points, P2. Italy, 87 points in P1. England, 66 points, P3. Scandinavia, 59 points, P4. And Netherlands at 52, P5. But like you said, no one's really out of this.
All right, grid order for this race. I forgot Scandinavia's grid order, to be honest.
A quick overview of race 3 here. Get it to load up. Discord not being my friend right now. All right, we're in the Peugeot group. Is this group 1 or group 2? I've actually never driven this car.
This is a Group 1 car. It's very fast, it's very treacherous, and we can have rain here, which would be fun if that is the case. Let's have a look.
Oh, I'm
Obviously,
praying for some rain in here. Let's flip this Nations Cup on its head. Let's see some rain. We got 10 laps to go here for the race. Again, we're doing standard ALR race settings here. So 4 times tire wear, 3 times fuel rate. You can use the hards, the mediums, or the soft. You have to make at least 1 mandatory pit stop, as you have to use 2 different compounds of tire. So obviously that gets all thrown in the garbage if it rains. But yeah, this is gonna be a great race here. And what better way to end it than Le Mans in a Group 1?
yeah, we've got a custom grid for this race based on the seedings from the semi-final as well. Okay, so we've got the grid here. In starting on pole, we've got Caplero, who is Italy's choice to be their first driver. Then we've got Iggy, will be starting in second for Team Austria. Then we've got BX, will be starting in third for England. T-Pass will be starting in fourth for Netherlands. And Trap will be starting in fifth for Scandinavia. Then the second set of drivers for each team, we got Viking, in the middle spot for the Italians in P6. We've got Chrissy in P7 and BO in P8. Then we've got DDK in P10, followed by DDK P9, Juho in P10. Then rounding off the grid for each team, we've got Zerbo, who will be coming in for the Italian team, replacing Pasti. He'll be in P11 with Pyro in P12. NLR Sick Boy will be in P13 with Elite Spectre in P14 and Killer Krill down in P15. I want to have a look at each team's livery, but unfortunately I can't see it.
Yeah, and shout out to Pasti there. He's getting replaced in this third race, but he definitely held his own in these first two races here, and that's a great job from him. To really give Italy a good chance here going in the last race.
He had a very solid result, especially in the first round at Laguna Seca. He came, what was it, like P6 or P7 for that Italian team, getting some really good points on the board for those guys.
Yeah, he's really been a difference maker for them just with his consistent performance this Nations Cup, I think. Obviously, you've had, some of the big names kept, pulling out massive performances with the new addition of Viking, and but yeah, and Deserbo as well. We know he's rapid, but great performances all the way up and down that team.
Yeah, but this is the car that everyone will be driving, the Peugeot 908 HDI FAP from 2010. It is a Group 1 MR car with 700 brake horsepower, less than 1,000 kilos weight, and yeah, should be a really good race, hopefully.
We're going to get to see some of those oval racing strategies maybe pay off a little bit down these two long stretches here as well. So, a couple teammates get together, they might be able to run away on those straights rather than a couple guys who decide they want to battle and overtake. We've seen it in the daily races before on this track, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
As we go aboard now with, I think this was Killer Krill. This car, well, when we said the last race kind of evened the playing field between drivers a little bit, this is completely the opposite. The Group 1 cars are some of the most difficult to handle, and that is the reason why we've left this classic combination to round one, to the final round, sorry, not round one. And I think we're starting.
Well, and I suppose too with Krill here in the VR, he's probably never driven this car, being a last minute sub. He's probably just trying to see what the inside of the car looks like.
Trying to get the good camera angle that I want to see for the start of the race. As I can't really tell, it looks like he's got a really bad start there. He might be on harder compound tires though, thinking about it. And look at that. That is a sight that many people will have seen, the Group 1 vehicles coming through the start of the Le Mans circuit.
Oh, someone off the track.
I think that was an Italian car. It looked to be green and blue going off the circuit, and it looks like a very good start from Viking Dog, as he's all the way up to P4 for his Italian team. Iggy is actually on the soft tyres, so it must have just been a poor start for him. BX is also on the softs, as well as Viking and Teapot. There's everyone on the start. The first medium runner is Chrissy, down in P6. DDK is on the soft tyres, which he'll be trying to sort of put to use, as Sick Boy with a really good start as well, up to P9. Let's go to the front though, and let's see what's going on there. As we've got T-Pos and Viking Dog side by side into the chicane. Good move from T-Pos. Probably going to have a tough time here. T-Pos is a tier 2 driver for this season, battling with these tier 1 guys in the top 4 drivers here.
I think for him right now, he just needs to focus on staying in that slipstream range down this long backstretch here. And you just hang with them as long as you can.
Crazy thing is, these cars look so slow, but I promise you they are not. These are some of the fastest cars in the game. As you see, they reach the corner and they barely slow it down. They are flying around these corners. It's just, I guess, the cameras are further away on this circuit, which is why it seems a little bit slower than what we saw at the Oval. As we see a big battle going on here further back. Two Englishmen. Sick Boy all the way up to P7 from his starting position of P13. He is making a really good progress here early on. And he's got some clean air now as well, which if he can put it to use, never mind he doesn't as he's getting ghosted through, that's a key problem that we see with this circuit. I think BO made a mistake there. He looks like he's dropped all the way down as he was battling Sitboy into the braking zone there. BX looking for a move.
And we can see a couple drivers with penalties already.
Yeah,
Back to the 2-second.
Kepler in P1 actually with a half a second penalty, which might put him behind these two guys here. BX makes a little mistake and he's in the sand, in the gravel, drops him all the way down to P5. That's not a great sequence of events for the English team. As further ahead, we've got the two Italians, second and third. I feel like I've said that before, behind Iggy this time round. Look at this. Top 5 split by just a few seconds. This over here, though, this is the section of the track which you will really notice the difference in skill. Let's go on board with Iggy and we'll see how it should be done. If you're one of the best drivers in the world, Iggy hitting every apex there in that section. You can see Kepler behind in the little wing mirror on the right hand side.
And just from this onboard camera, you can just really get a sense of speed here. These cars are just flying through these curves, and he's just eating those curves, no problem at all.
You really get a sense of the confidence that you need as well to be quick in these cars. Viking Dog really catching up to Caprera there, just 6 tenths behind. T-Pass, I think, deserves a lot of credit for what he's doing here. Just 3 seconds off Iggy, really stuck with Viking Dog there in that section of track. Whilst he will be having the dirty air from the Italians ahead, he really needs to stay in his slipstream because this could be vital to his race if he can sort of close back up to those two guys and then just have them carry him around the track, really. It will be very beneficial to him, but a little mistake there. It looks like he is going to lose the slipstream.
Yeah, I was going to say, hopefully he can sneak back in that slipstream range down the backstretch, but it's going to take a great exit here, but just barely missed it.
Viking Dog with a 2-second penalty. That's going to drop him well down. Obviously, Italian team don't need a perfect result here, but they still need a pretty good result. They do have that 20-point lead, but they can't be throwing things away, getting 2-second penalties for no reason in particular.
Yeah, and that's tough here. That's going to put him in a tough spot between Royal and Sick Boy, I'd imagine. And we might see those English drivers work together to just force him out.
Chrissy with an interesting line there into that corner as we see Deserbo with a penalty as himself. I'm surprised Chrissy hasn't got a penalty for that one as he goes bunny hopping over the poles. They probably have a word, bollards, I guess, as Elite Spectre is now in this slipstream. And they might be making it 3 wide here at the end of the chicane.
Yeah, and going back to these Group 1 cars being difficult to drive, what makes these cars so weird to drive is you really have to trust that the downforce on this car is going to carry you through the corner. You can't brake too much or you'll lose that downforce and you'll actually lose turning ability and you'll just understeer.
They're definitely very different to the Group 3 cars that these guys are used to driving and the road cars that we've been driving the past 2 races. But as you guys know, the Nations Cup is an event that's designed to test all abilities, all skills in the cockpit. And yeah, this is obviously a very different test. And you can see Iggy still outperforming the rest of the drivers up in P1. But the top 6 are really looking like they're close together and starting to pull away from these guys down here in P7. As we probably should go back ahead soon and take a look at where Vikings penalty drops in, but we'll watch these guys just a little bit longer.
Well, that's a really tough penalty for Deserbo as well. That's going to drop him down, and that's going to put him back in the range of Pyro back there, who needs a couple overtakes to help out Austria here.
Yeah, so Viking Dog's 2-second penalty has dropped him behind T-Pus, potentially if T-Pus can be brave and go for the move up the inside. He looks to the inside. And Viking trying to hold it round the... Oh my god. He's held it round the outside of T-Pass. And he's took back P3. Yeah, he gets a half a second penalty. He gets a half a second penalty for his troubles, unfortunately. So this time he might be able to stick ahead of T-Pass. As Iggy has pulled out some even more time here to the Italian drivers.
Yeah, and it looks like he might have just ever so slightly got some tires on the grass there, so that first little bend section, and that's ultimately where he took that half-second penalty.
DeZerbo either has got another 1.5 second penalty or he didn't serve his 1.5 second penalty, but either way, not great for him. As we've got Pyro in P10 with another penalty, Trap down in P11, followed by DDK right up his rear. Might be looking for a move here. Let's go on board. Looking to the inside.
Well, I can't believe how many penalties we're seeing getting handed out here. That just shows the difficulty of these cars, and it
Yeah,
also really shows Iggy and how masterful he is in that car up there.
yeah. When we look at sort of the driving that we see BX Royal and Iggy and Cap have been really consistent. You can see the loss of that dude was talking about earlier, where Trap takes a bit too much speed off, and he just can't get the car turned in. Whereas DDK goes with confidence and gains out 1.4 seconds on his competitor here. BO down in P14 might cost England with an opportunity of catching up on Italy, but to be honest, Italy in P2 and P3 is probably enough for them to keep the win regardless of what anyone else does.
Yeah, we're really gonna have to see someone from Austria get up there and challenge that double podium right now on the Italians, or that's gonna be all she wrote. Closest one being Chrissy in P8. He's got a ways to go.
Yeah, and Chrissy does have an Italian just behind him as well. And it looks like DDK and Pyro is the closest battle on track right now, as we see penalties littered all around this midfield.
Right now, I know Pyro's praying for some rain. He needs something here.
Doesn't look like it's going to come right now, but it would be nice to see some rain, something just a little bit different to spice things up, because it just looks a little bit too easy for these top guys right now, as they've really pulled away quite early on, and it doesn't look like people are really going to be making an indent into the times that they're setting. It looks like BX has managed to get past T-Post, though. He's really putting in some good lap times. Or T-Post has made a mistake, because his last lap was actually slower than T-Post's, so maybe we'll see T-Post get back past. Viking Dog with another penalty. It looks like he might have some incredible pace. BX Royal with purple laps so far, and we are, what, 3/4 of the way around the lap, and he's still on course for a purple lap, so it is a good lap from BX Royal this time round.
And he just might have needed a couple laps to, figure out the car and get comfortable.
Obviously, BX Royal came second in TR1 last season, I think 10 or 11 points behind Iggy. So he missed the race as well, as it looks like it's getting very overcast and quite grey in the distance.
I may have summoned some of the rain gods there.
I think we might be seeing a penalty pop up on BX Royal's car there. It looked like he went slightly too wide, but it doesn't appear, so he must have just stayed on the curb through the fast left-hander. Kept with a 2-second penalty. These Italians need to avoid these penalties, and it's getting increasingly overcast now. I wish we could move to the weather radar to have a look if it was due, but surely look how grey this is right now.
Yeah, it is getting dark, and it is getting dark quick. And this is what's crazy. The leaders have built such a gap here. If it downpours quick, those back runners might have a chance to scoot into that pit quick. So it'll be interesting to see here what happens on this next lap if it gets increasingly dark.
Doesn't look like anyone is coming into the pits yet, and going on board with Killer Krill is definitely not raining just yet. Shout out to Killer Krill, he's doing this in VR. Obviously, really, really well done to him for committing to that in a final. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like it's raining. We've got drivers on pretty much opposite sides of the circuit right now, and there's no rain, no rain, no window wipers on whatsoever. Let's actually go and look at that battle. They look like there were some cars quite close. As we've got Elite Spectre 5/10 behind Sick Boy in the slipstream. The rain is on. The window wipers are on. Sick Boy's window wiper is on there, and it's raining.
Oh man, this is gonna make things crazy.
Only Sick Boy's wiper is on, and it's raining for him, but it's not raining for Elite Spectre apparently. Is his
Oh,
wiper is
maybe
still
Sick Boy's
off?
got the wiper programmed on his steering wheel. Maybe he's hit the wiper button.
Maybe that's what it is. I got very
Uh,
excited there, not gonna lie, as I saw the wiper running. It doesn't look like it is wet at all, does it? Oh, that's unfortunate, yeah. Sick boy being such a tease there. Unfortunately, no one else's wipers are going off, so yeah, I think it is just Sick boy
oh,
teasing us. And it looks like BX might get
double
P2 here.
Italian penalty. Oh my goodness, the Italians just getting eaten alive by track limits here.
BX's wipers are on now. Vikings wipers are on. Kep's wipers are on. It is raining. The rain meter is on. They'll all be coming into.
Oh,
Oh,
here we go.
it's starting to piss it down. How heavy is this
And
rain going to get? This is going to be really treacherous for this final sector, though.
how much rain and how long? This is the question.
It's coming at a good time for these guys as their fuel is starting to diminish. They're on about half fuel so far, as BX is going to need a good exit to get past Kep here. I don't know if it's going to happen for him with the rain, as it is intermediate conditions right now. You can see Iggy has pulled out 2 seconds, and that's just from being further up. As look at the spray that Kep's Peugeot is throwing in the face of BX Royal, and they're going to have to brake so early to get this stopped. And BX is round. That is not surprising with how slippery these conditions are and how tough it is to drive. Let's go on board with Iggy, who's lost it as well. 5 second penalty from Iggy as he bins it.
Oh, goodness gracious. This is really going to flip this race on its head here.
The question is, do drivers go into the intermediates or do they go in for the hards? It's just a case of who can be safer and get it round the track easier here, to be honest. And I tell you what, Iggy has been blessed from being further up on the grid. He's gained 26 seconds on Caplero just from being on the drier track for longer. That's all it is, and this is really going to split out the grid. As we see, the Italians are doing well here.
Oh my
The Dutch
goodness.
drivers, sorry, are doing well.
Oh man, this is exactly what I wanted to see.
It's more reminiscent of a car park than Le Mans, but here we are, four abreast into the final sector. You guys need to pit. What are you doing? They're
Oh
staying
my
out.
god. Maybe their weather radars are showing it's gonna let up or stop really quick, but BX and Elite diving in.
I don't care if it's going to stop really quick. You're doing 60 miles an hour down a straight. You're going backwards down the straight, T-Posh. You've made the wrong decision here, mate. Inters for a lap is definitely better, especially when you can't keep this car in a straight line. Iggy was about 10 seconds ahead of Sick Boy. He's now pitted and he's on Inters and is out ahead of Sick Boy. These guys must be regretting their decision. Kep has now been... He's now a pit stop down on Iggy. Why
Yeah,
would they stay out?
these guys are in for a 4+ minute lap of spins, unfortunately for them, because this is no short lap here at Le Mans.
This is great content. It really is. It just shows how Iggy's 5 second penalty is going to mean nothing by the end. He's flying. He's on Inters. He's made the right decision. It might be not raining anymore, but the amount these guys have lost from pirouetting around the first sector and the final sector of the track is by no means worth it. Sort of taking the hit and taking the intermediate tyres is surely the better option, right?
Oh, and I'm just surprised we didn't see someone dive in before that last lap. It was a 4 minute lap. It had to be on the weather radar. So if I was near the back there and I saw even a hint of rain, I'm taking a gamble there, hopping on the inners. Boy, what do you have to lose?
Yeah, when we look where Killer Krill is, he looks like he's given up, or his car is died. We'll say his engine has exploded. I think that's more reasonable. No, he's moving again. That strategy isn't working, unfortunately for us, as he's now 2 minutes 43 down from his nearest competitor.
And you know what? Shout out to Krill. He's a great driver, and he hopped in last minute for these guys just to fill a spot. So it's
It
tough coming in with cars you don't know, tracks you didn't practice. So shout out to him for being a great sport.
it just shows how much practice helps. And I tell you what, DDK must be getting flashbacks here to the first day of the Nations Cup. He was in the lobby with other nations like Spain, was one of them in the same lobby as him, and Ireland, and the Baltics, I believe, as well. Some other nations who are no longer in the competition. And he got 16 seconds of penalties around a wet lap in Spa where he didn't manage to pit in time. And now he's got 5.5 seconds. So definitely some flashbacks there as he can't get the cut-off stopped. It looks like these soft tyres are quicker than the intermediates on the straights, but they just can't keep it on track. But obviously they just need to keep it within, what, like 50 seconds for it to be worthwhile and to not lose out on Iggy.
And it looks like it's starting to get a little brighter out, but how long is this track going to stay wet? How many laps will it take for this to dry out?
We've got
We can see the
DDK and
sun
T-Pass
peeking there.
both about to serve some penalties. Sick Boy will catch up slightly on Iggy. We've got Trap, who is on the mediums, defending from Viking Dog. This will be a good example to us to show the difference between these intermediates and the mediums, to show which tyre is better right now. It looks like the intermediates... Viking's got 8.5 second penalty.
And you know what? And for Austria right now, they just need to put some pressure on these Italian drivers here. Somebody needs to find a way into that midfield.
So Austria have had an absolute mare here in this rain phase. They've gone from a solid P2, P3 to P7, dropping 8 seconds further back from Viking Dog. Kep is still up in P4, so that's a solid result for those guys. De Zerbo has actually taken the role of second driver now, and let's take a look where Sick Boy comes out compared to Iggy. The thing is, Iggy can go to the end from here. He's refueled. This will be his final pit stop of the race, whereas Sick Boy is also pitting as well, so he's not actually going to gain as much as I thought he was going to. So I think Iggy will still stay comfortably ahead of Sick Boy, who will probably go softs to the end. As Elite Spectre rage quits, he doesn't complete 70% of the race, so that's going to be 0 points for Netherlands for him as well, which is just very upsetting to see and very damaging to their hopes of winning this race. Iggy is out in P4, just behind these top three.
We can see Chrissy there working his way in 8th place. He's sneaking up the grid here. He needs to try and get in front of De Zerbo. Give Austria a chance here to close some points.
It looks like this should be 50 points confirmed for Iggy, because all these other guys need to make another pit stop. Iggy can just go from here to the end of the race. Another penalty for Trap this time, going wide on a corner that's very difficult, very easy, sorry, to get a penalty. It looks like Iggy will get P3 soon with DDK and Kep actually both with half a second penalty, and T-Pass with a second penalty. When do these guys not have penalties? We got DDK right. Oh, contact between these two drivers. Kepler keeping it on track though, fortunately. You can just see the smoke. I think it was smoke. It might have been spray, actually, thinking about it, but they are okay. Iggy down in P4, right in the slipstream of DDK. He might get the move done into this corner, because we know there is an issue with ghosting that we see into... Is it the Mulsanne corner, potentially? Yeah, DDK making a mistake. Iggy up to P3 with 4 laps to go. This is a battle further back that will be vital to the standings. BX Royal trying to get past De Zerbo. Is BX Royal still on the intermediates? No, he's not. He's on the medium compound tyres. So he just used that pit stop to switch tyres. So he'll be going from here to the end as well.
Yeah, we can see that track's really starting to dry off as well. So if these guys manage to stay on the racing line, these medium and soft tires are going to be way more rapid than the intermediates here.
I'm
Oh, no
pretty
one's left
sure.
on the intermediates,
Yeah, I was
actually.
gonna say I'm pretty sure everyone who did go to the Inters has come back onto the soft tires, and that was comical during the switchover point when we went over to the Inters, to say the least. It looks like BX is trying to get past Trap here. He should have it done. You'd hope. Trap trying to hold it around the outside, but there's not enough room on the dry line for him to do that, and that's actually put Chrissy right behind him now instead.
Yeah, and this is a big position for Austria. They need to gain some spots. Oh, little contact.
Speaking of teams that are looking for the points, we've got Viking Dog making a move on Trap as Trap comes into the pits. The pit lane is still wet, so he's going to have to take it very cautiously. And he actually takes it perfectly, to be honest. So where are we looking at with drivers right now? We've got Iggy with a 4 second lead. He'll be going to the end. DDK will need to pit at the end of this lap. De Zerbo will be going to the end. That's big for Italy. BX Royal will be going to the end as well. Chrissy will be going to the end as well. That's a net P4 for him. Viking Dog also to the end, as well as Sick Boy, Caplera. I think everyone else from here back will be going to the end. The only drivers we've got to pit are Pyro, DDK, and Juhothin, who Killer Krill is actually getting lapped here. It looks like, just to show the pace of these top guys.
Well, and depending if Pyro can gain some more positions here, depending where Kep comes out of these pits, Austria really might be able to close this gap on the lead.
Yeah, just at one point we saw Italy were sort of a dead cert for a P2, P3 finish. It looks like it could still be on for them. Zerbo will be in a net P2, and Viking Dog not too far behind BX Royal. Thing is, with Austria obviously being 20 points behind Italy, they really need their third driver to get close. Iggy's beaten the first Austrian driver, Chrissy's beaten the second Italian driver, and then Pyro is P10 yet to pit, so I think it's going to be too little too late for Austria, and I don't think they'll be able to get the win here.
Yeah, I think Kep here is just too quick, and with Pyro still having a pit stop here, that's tough luck there.
And Chrissy is facing backwards as he spins on the exit. He's done it again. He's spun twice. We saw
Oh
the second
man.
spin, obviously, just going too deep into that corner, getting a tyre on the wet stuff, and you can see all the spray and tyre smoke. That's actually put him down next to Caplera. He was 18 seconds ahead of Kep before the spin. Lost 14 seconds to him, now just 4 ahead.
Ah, and that's tough there for the Austrian driver.
Sick Boy is actually catching Viking Dog here. Last time I checked, Sick Boy was about 3 seconds behind Viking, so he's putting some storming laps. He is a tier 1 driver himself. Same as BX Royal, they're both tier 1 drivers, and they're both flying here. Obviously, Viking Dog is some people's prediction to win the tier 1 title this season. Obviously, if you guys haven't filled in the season 9 predictor, make sure to do so. You got a chance to win £20 or $20 or €20 and absolutely nothing to lose. So you got nothing to lose for going for it. So you might as well go stick in and see how well you do. At the worst, it's just a bit of fun. DDK does come in to serve his mandatory pit stop now, which will drop him behind these guys. The Zerbo takes P2 just 2 seconds, less than 2 seconds ahead of BX Royal now, who, yeah, gained 1 second on De Zerbo the previous lap and pulled out a second on Viking Dog, and Sick Boy sets a lap almost 1.2, 1.3 seconds quicker than Viking Dog. So you can see these top 4 really are sort of closing on together. The English driver's about 1 second per lap quicker than the Italians, but the Italians do have track position.
Yeah, and it looks like this is really coming down to the third driver for these teams right now. The Italians' third driver really kind of putting Italy in a spot to walk away with this one right now. As the English third driver, we see him way down. Pyro's just under the pits now. That's going to bump him down some spots.
Yeah, if we fill in the results for the top, obviously the top 6 is all the 3 teams that are probably most likely to be fighting for this title. This BX gets a 2-second penalty. That's not great for him. It would leave Italy on 167 if they can stay like this, but obviously they'd lose a lot of points if they get overtaken by their English counterparts. Austria would be on 145 and England on 138, not including the third driver. Obviously, Caplero would be getting some big points for Italy, so it's all in Italy's hands here with 2.5 laps to go.
Yeah, if I'm Kep at this point, you're just cruising. You know, seeing where his teammates are. You don't need to do anything too crazy. Just keep it clean and try and bring it home for Italy.
Yeah, all of these guys, to be honest, even if the English drivers finish P2 and P4 ahead of the 2 Italians in, say, like, if we go Austrian, English, Italian, English, Italian, it would still be enough for the Italians to win this title. So I think they've driven a fantastic race here. And they were just the most consistent team throughout both races. All 3 races, sorry.
Yeah, and I mean, this is an absolute deadly lineup. You look at De Zerbo, there's no question, Tier 2, he put in some work in some of the races. Kep, we all know Kep's quick. That guy, many race wins. And then, of course, Viking Dog, new to ALR. But he definitely, like you said, he's got some heavy weight on his shoulders for his first season. But and don't forget about Pasti, like we talked about earlier. He put in some great races for them, and just the entire team showed up, and you know they got good finishes. They were consistent, and you can see it's that's the reason why they're in such good position right now.
I think the only thing England could have done more to compete with these guys is probably team selection for the finals. We've got Italians who are bringing out 3 Tier 1 drivers for this final race, and it's showing with the performance that they're putting in here. England have brought out 2 Tier 1 drivers who are both putting in fantastic performances in P3 and P5. But then they've got a Tier 3 driver for their third who is obviously struggling in these cars, which are really difficult and really sort of like expose any technical weaknesses you might have. Whereas they've got 2 Tier 1 drivers sitting on the bench at home. Like, bring one of these along and maybe they'd have had a chance.
Oh, and I think ultimately they're going to kick themselves for their Daytona performance.
Yeah.
Because that, at this point, is the difference maker.
It was almost
with the way the standings are right now.
Yeah, it was almost as comical as the crossover period that we had in this race. You see these top 6, all Viking getting very squirrely in a 5-second penalty as each track extends. And that's going to drop him down to P5.
And that's just salt in the wound right there for the English, because Sick Boy's going to end up overtaking him. And we might see BX Royal overtake De Zerbo before the end. And really, that Daytona lack of points, it's just shoot themselves in the foot with that one there. That's got to be frustrating for them.
Yeah, further back we've got BO in P11 and Pyro in P12. If you guys just wanted to see how the third drivers for Austria and England are getting along.
Iggy with an absolute dominant lap time, a 3:22.3, just showing his skill in this car.
Yeah, 6/10 quicker than BX's fastest lap. Almost 2 seconds quicker than Viking Dog. And obviously Sick Boy had some really slow laps earlier on getting through the traffic, which he did a fantastic job to do, by the way, starting P13. And he's up in this battle with these guys who are similar pace to him as he goes purple, Sick Boy, right now. P3 and P4 now for the 2 English drivers, with Viking yet to serve his 5.5-second penalty. Do you know what? As things stand, there is a 1 point separating the Austrian and English team. It's looking like a crazy battle for P. P2 in the standings. Doesn't look like we're quite going to get the battle that we were hoping for first position, as BX's penalty has dropped him quite a way back from De Zerbo.
And it looks like even with Vikings 5.5 second penalty there, Chrissy's still going to be a little bit out of reach with only 1 lap to go. But we might see Kep catch up to Chrissy here.
Yeah, that would just further solidify their P1 for Team Italy if they were to get that one done. It looks like they will win by around 30 points as things stand. So they've even eked out their advantage even further. Obviously, it was 20 points starting this race, the gap to Austria. And did I hear a spin, or was that tyre squeal? I think it was tyre squeal.
Just an absolute blistering lap from Iggy there, 3:21.7. Flying.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what these other guys do. Sick Boy was purple at one point, but I saw him make a mistake battling with Viking Dog, so I don't think his lap will be purple. Viking Dog comes across the line for 3:23. BX Royal made a mistake on his lap and had to serve a penalty, so that will be slower. And Sick Boy with a 3:26 after his battle with Viking Dog. So Iggy just showing a very dominant performance so far this race.
And I think the story of Team Austria, unfortunately, is just going to be a little bit of sloppiness. Had a little bit of contact with teammates in the Daytona race, and a little bit of a contact issue in the first race on Laguna. So, just unfortunate for them because they got some great drives at Iggy there.
So we will need to go on board for this Austrian driver, Iggy, in the final sector when it comes around to it, because it looks like all the positions are sorted unless we see a mistake or a penalty like T-Pos has just got here, and he might be getting a 5-second penalty for that. He looks like he's extended on the chicane at turn 3, but he doesn't actually receive one this time round. But that's the closest battle on track. Apart from that, it looks like everyone's pretty spread out. Iggy getting a penalty, showing even he isn't flawless around this circuit.
Yeah, I think that's just a glitch in his programming there. We don't see him do that very often.
There's a mistake in the code. It'll be interesting to see how the drivers are thinking right now as well. Like, maybe they'll be thinking they've got a chance at winning this. Maybe they will realise that it is Italy's to lose, and it would require something like De Zerbo crashing out and dropping all the way down to P7 for any other nation to have a chance, really. But we'll see what happens for this final 1 minute of the Nations Cup.
Just checking the Italians. They're all good on fuel. No catastrophes there to be had.
So we're on board with Iggy in the final sector. He's just got to hit every apex. Just 5 more corners to go until he can call himself a race winner here yet again. It will be 2 race victories for him, but unfortunately it was not enough to carry the Austrian team to the title of the Aero League Racing Nations Cup. Scheduled to finish on 153 points as a team. Iggy scoring 75 of those points in just the last 2 races. Over half of his team's points he scored across the event.
Yeah, and what a great drive from Iggy across these races here.
De Zerbo will come home in P2 to score 44 points for the Italian team, which takes them back.
And what a great drive
ahead.
from him. De Zerbo was the 3rd Italian driver, so he started towards the back of the grid there. Mm-hmm. So a P2 from him against these drivers, that's an insane drive.
It will be 40 and 36 points for the 2 other English drivers and 32 for Viking Dog in P5. Then we have Chrissy in P6, another solid drive from him with 28, and then Keplero taking 24 points for the Italian team, which wraps it up. Italy are your ALR Nations Cup champions. DDK will come home for 20, followed by Trap, who will be... Oh, will he? T-Pos might get him, actually, on penalties. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
T-Pos will get 16 points, with Scandinavia with 12. BO now, he's got a 10-second buffer to Pyro behind. He might be trying to run out like this is the final, and might be hoping that his team have done enough for him, but unfortunately, it won't be the case. He'll come home for potentially 10 points if he keeps his P11, which it looks like he should do unless he gets reset, taking the final chicane very gingerly as to not get a penalty. Killer Krill in P14 secures 4 points for Scandinavia. Pyro will get 8 points, and it will be 6 points for the Netherlands. So overall, that would mean Italy are your champions. If we go on board with Viking Dog, we can have a look at that beautiful car there.
Yeah, and we really saw everything in this race. We saw some rain. We saw some great racing off the start. And then, when the pack nice and spread out at the end, we got to see everyone's raw pace.
Another victory for Iggy there, starting in second. And that is the end of what, a month? No. Is it a month? It's about 3 weeks, right, of
Yeah,
Nations Cup,
Yeah,
I
almost a
think,
month.
Of Nations Cup racing. This is the car that they did it in, the Peugeot 908, to round things off. Next Monday, not this Monday coming, the week after, is when we kick things off for our main Group 3 league, and the Spec Series will continue 2 days later on the Wednesday. But yeah, I think final results were 187 points for Team Italy, 153 to Team Austria, 152 to Team England, who came P3rd. Unfortunately, we only had one prediction alive. Correctly guessed the 5 teams to make the final, but he guessed England were going to win, and they came 3rd.
Oh, that's just bad luck. Bad luck there.
Netherlands are P4 with 88 points today, and Scandinavia round off the finalists. Still a fantastic effort from those guys to make it all the way to the final. And obviously, congrats to them for coming 5th. Thank you to everyone who participated in this event. Obviously, we had some other guys who did really well throughout. Obviously, Germany came just missing out. They were the other 3rd place finish, but Scandinavia scored more points. And yeah, Team Italy was made up of Deserbo, Viking Dog, Keplero, Pasty 87, and I think that's it, right? For the drivers, yeah, those were the 4.
I think so, yeah.
4 drivers who did fantastic for those guys. And yeah, they were deserved champions, really, of the Nations Cup, weren't they?
Yeah, no doubt. Like we talked about during the race, they really just great performances from everyone on their team.
Anyway, I think that's everything from us. Monday, a week Monday, is when the Group 3 League commences for Season 9. Hope to see you all there. Top 2 tiers will be streamed. And yeah, 7 tiers of racing. If you want to sign up, then just look for our Twitter page. It's at aeroleague_ALR and click on the Discord link. And yeah, that's everything.
Right on. Thanks for hanging out with us.
And yeah, normal commentators will be back for the main series, so you won't have to put up with us guys. So yeah.